Thank you for your attendance and good morning, councillors. Do we have anyone to move on confirmation of the minutes 25th of October 2023?
I have just picked up an error.
Please go ahead.
Only a typo. Page 11, item number 8.2, Telstra is spelled.
Yeah, thank you very much. Got that.
Okay, does someone want to move on those with that?
I'll move that the minutes of the ordinary meeting held on the 25th of October 2023 be confirmed with that amendment.
Okay, do we have a seconder? Councillor Burkett, any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. Okay, moving on. Page 57. Uh, 8.1, reimbursement for Seniors Week 2023 entertainment to the Roma Gun Club. Councillor Taylor.
I'd like to declare a conflict on 8.1, reimbursement for the Seniors Week 2023 entertainment to the Roma Gun Club. The declaring councillor is myself, Wendy Taylor. The person of interest is myself. Particulars of interest: I'm the treasurer of the Roma Clay Target Club, of which the agenda item refers to. It's a prescribed conflict of interest, and I'll leave the room while the matter is discussed and voted on.
Just a question. Nothing to do with the actual motion, but do they take turnabouts at these functions? George? Oh, just a question. Like, do the clubs approach council for these things, or you just curious? Do they take turnabout with Seniors Week and Volunteers Week, or they put in a request to host them? Or?
So council organise a regional Seniors Month event. We typically do it at the Cultural Centre. This year we partnered with Scontime Roma to host this event. So they put in an allocation of money, and then we put in an allocation of money.
Yeah, because we've been to the Bowls Club for all that, just various things. I was just curious if they all showed interest.
No. So Scontime Roma approached us last year to host something for Seniors Month, and we said we'd already organised the one at the Cultural Centre because we'd already locked in the entertainer.
Yep.
And I said, let's touch base for next year.
That's it.
Yeah.
Cool.
But that's not to say in the future years that we can't partner with other organisations and host something at other areas or clubs or anything.
No. Thank you.
I'd like to move that this item be removed from the agenda as the request. I've had correspondence and the request is not needed. So I'd like to move that we withdraw this item from the agenda. Please, you've got a seconder for that?
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favour, please go ahead.
I understand that, and I'm not against it, but I'm just wondering, we actually have had correspondence from a resident. I'm just wondering if we should be just noting correspondence rather than withdrawing it.
I'm happy to receive a note.
Like, I'm just wondering about, instead of withdrawing it, whether we should just be, acknowledging that we've had correspondence, just receive a note. It's just a question.
You happy to second that? Anyone else wish to speak? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0. And get the councillor back. 8.2, Southwest Rock endorsement net zero strategy development. I'd like to move that Council A receive and note the report, to B endorse the RAB funded net zero strategy being developed by All Energy Pty Ltd through the Southwest Queensland Regional Organisations of Council, Southwest Rock. We have a second, Councillor Edwards. Does anyone wish to speak to the motion? I'll speak to the motion. This is funding that council has received as being part of South West Rock. It's funded by the state, and I would hope that we find some low-hanging fruit that can reduce our energy use in council, and the opportunity to have meetings where they come out and work with our staff on low-hanging fruit, easier solutions that can actually make a meaningful difference to, obviously, council's energy costs, which in turn helps with net zero. Okay, does anyone else wish to speak? Then we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. 8.3, proposal for a new weighbridge to be installed in Surat. Councillor Taylor. Oh, Councillor Hancock, sorry.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to declare a conflict.
Please go ahead.
I'd like to declare a conflict on agenda item 8.3, proposal for a new weighbridge to be installed. Declaring councillor is Councillor Joanne Hancock. Person with interest is GL and J.M. Hancock, H58 Hancock Trust, my husband and myself. Nicholas Hancock and Stephanie Griffiths, son and partner. Peter and Karen Hancock, brother-in-law and sister-in-law. Particulars of the interest is all parties above who might have a close association with owned and operated vehicles that will from time to time be instructed by the landowner to use a weighbridge. That should be particulars of interest, Nikita. And then type of conflicts, declarable conflict of interest, and the action is, although I have a declarable conflict of interest, I do not believe a reasonable person could have a perception of bias. Therefore, I will choose to remain in the meeting. However, I will respect the decision of the meeting on whether I can remain and participate in the decision.
Okay. Do we have Councillor Taylor?
I'd like to move that it is in the public interest that Councillor Hancock participates and votes on the agenda item 8.3 because a reasonable person would trust that the decision is made in the public interest.
We have a second, Councillor McMullen. Anyone wish to speak? Then we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0. I'd like to move that a report be provided to an
I've got a procedural motion.
Please go ahead.
Can I move that we deal with item 8.3 at the conclusion of the late confidential items?
Okay.
I have a couple of questions before that, Megan.
Yep.
I'd just like to know who gave the authority for the previous bridge to be sold.
So I've just moved a procedural motion.
Righto, so
And
we'll
that's-
do a procedural
So we
motion.
can answer those questions now.
Is that you need a seconder because I'm moving the agenda
Yeah,
item.
out of order. I'm going to
Councillor McMullen. And then all those in favour? All those against? So that's 8-1, if I'm called for a division. Okay, moving on.
the number one was.
Councillor Ladford. 11.1, policy review, rates and charges, debt recovery policy. We have a mover. Councillor McMullen.
Mr Mayor, I move the council adopt the rates and charges debt recovery policy as presented. 2, rescind all previous rates and charges debt recovery policies if relevant. 3, update council's website accordingly.
Can I ask a question? What is the difference between this policy and the last policy? I couldn't see
If
it.
I can just answer that.
Please go ahead.
Thank you for the question, Mayor. No changes at all in this policy. All it is just updating it in the new format under the new framework. That's all.
Same for the next one as well.
There's 2 others. There's the sundry debt collection policy and the utilities policy. There's a couple of changes under those.
Let us know when.
Yep.
Okay, we have a second, Councillor Edwards.
I have a question.
Please go ahead.
You just mentioned our new framework. Is that a new framework the council's put up, or is it a new framework that the state put up?
That we've put up. What we've done is we've basically just refreshed the overall look with regards to the front. If you look at the front page, it refers to who's got responsibility, when the time frame is for review, and I think there's a couple of other. In particular, we're talking about the responsible position and also the review date. They're the key changes from the previous one.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, does anyone wish to speak to the motion? Then we will go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. Councillor Edwards, did you move that?
The second.
Moved it. You seconded it?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, moving on to the next one. (11.2) Policy review, utilities debt recovery policy. You've got any questions on this one? I've got a question. What is the difference to this and the older one?
So these two particular policies, what we in our we have two areas. We have our rates collection area, or our rating area, which is supervised by Debbie Gelbar. We also have our debtors area, which is supervised by Tegan. What we've done is, under Debbie's supervision, she looks after both water, sewage, gas and rates. These two particular policies will basically just split the collection process between those two areas, whereas previously gas was being monitored and supervised by Tegan's area. Now we're saying under these policies we're actually splitting it out between the two. So if that helps explain the rationale behind why there's a change.
Is there no change on how we're actually treating the customers?
No, but there is no change. There is a change with regards to the delegations, which is being proposed putting forward. Under the old policy, anything above $50 goes to the council for approval. What we're suggesting here or proposing here is that there's a delegation level to management, which is identified, I think, to the CFO of $500, to the Director of Corporate Services, I think it's $1,000, and for the CEO up to $2,500. With that particular change, I've also made it very plain to staff that if this is adopted or approved by council, that either way we would be informing council of any action we take with regards to debts via some kind of report to keep them informed, which I think is good governance and oversight anyway.
And is that standard that other councils have done, that sort of limits in that?
Where I've seen other councils, I've actually seen my experience previously has been that the CEO normally gets up to around about $5,000. But definitely the oversight goes to council on a regular basis around those particular items anyway.
So just through the chair, we just reiterate, we're not waiving rates. We don't have the ability to do that. It's really around the write-off of those charges. And council's practices, we do come to you every year, usually for a resolution around that. However, what we're asking is that we make those decisions, especially on gas utility, because we're under different legislation there, so that to speed up the process, but the intention is to still keep reporting that to council.
Yeah. So the difference between rates and gas is for rates, whether it's water, sewage or rates, is attached to the property. For gas, it's actually attached to the person or the entity that's applied for the gas.
So the allocation of the human resources is that's not really a policy.
Not really, but it's going to allow better administration of that particular policy.
But that's not in here.
about splitting up the things.
No, that's how we're currently operating already. So Debbie Gilbert, in charge of, she looks after rates, water, sewage and gas. So the utilities policy will address that, and then the sundry debts will be looked after by Tegan and her team.
I'm happy to move, Mr. Mayor.
I know. We have a question, Councillor Hancock.
Just, I'm looking at the page 84 with the delegation amounts, which is fine. And I heard you say that, you know, it'd be great practice to be able to just inform council so that we know, which I think is fantastic.
Yep.
I just wonder whether we need to have a line embedded in our policy that, you know, communication will be to councillors. The only reason is, that, Lord forbid, anything happens and there's a change of management or something.
Yep.
That's what you expect.
Yep.
But unless it's in the policy, it might not be carried through. So I'm just wondering whether we should, you know, add
I'm happy
a
to
line.
include something in there about that. That's a thinking there, so I'm happy to change that.
So my suggestion would be
I'll just put that with those minor changes.
and would you put that, Director?
Sorry, I apologise. I don't have my notes
That's
with me.
okay,
They're
that's
over there.
okay. In the end, would you just add it at the number 9 unrecoverable bad debts, and just after this, that another dot point that says, these debts will be, or what would you say? I'll let you word it. The decisions will be communicated to council.
Sure. It could be that a report in relation to write-offs be provided to council. It could be on a 6-monthly basis or an annual basis.
However, but
I've made it very plain to staff that there's.
I'm just going to put the minor amendment as listed, as communicated.
I've made it very plain to staff that there's no way that this policy change suggestion would go ahead unless we make it very plain to council that they still provide that oversight and governance of at least a report coming to council. So I think they're quite understanding of what that requirement is, but I'm very happy. I'm very happy to put that in there as well.
Councillor Taylor.
I just think that third point with the 2,500, I think that's a fairly big amount, really. Nobody thinks that's a high amount? On page 84.
to write off
Just
a debt.
through the chair, I mean, the issue that I think in relation to, and just from memory, in relation to a lot of the, say, gas write-offs, they're probably somewhere between 1,000 and 2,500 is often more, and they tend to be. So it's really trying to just streamline a process, essentially in an annual process that allows us to make those decisions.
So are we saying that we often write off over 2.5 grand in gas?
Yeah, certainly. I'm just trying to think, Eric, last year the report to council was probably in the vicinity of 7 or 8 thousand.
No, don't quote me on this. I'm happy to come back to you and confirm this. I've got $30,000 in my mind. I honestly have that number. So I prefer to check. Yeah, I prefer to just double check that with Debbie. I'm happy to come back to you with the number.
I've
tried to contact her to see if she's available, but
Well, it depends if someone wants to move it.
I'll move this lay on the table to that information.
She's actually in some. We're doing an upgrade to altitude. She's just come back to me saying she's in training, so I'll just have to wait till she comes back to me after training. If that's okay.
I want to move something and ask for the information.
I'll move it lay on the table to later in the meeting.
Mr. Mayor, I just got a follow-up question, like to bring back. When I read this delegation, I actually thought that was for, is that a cumulative amount? Or is that for one resident?
That'll be for one resident.
Yeah, right, that's how I read it, yep.
Okay, are all those in favour of laying it on the table till later in the meeting? 9-0. Okay, 11.3, policy review sundry debt recovery policy.
I'll start again.
There was a change to this.
We've done.
Director Eric said there was a change in this one as well.
Yeah, well, that's the next one on the agenda. 11.3, Does anyone have any questions about it?
Well, we'd like to know if there's any changes as well.
Yep.
Just through the chair, I think this policy is it's similar to the previous policy, is that if you read on page 85, is based on a review of the policies within the council.
25.
On the wrong page? 11.3?
Yeah, it'd have to be 9.
Okay, I think there might be some different numbering, but anyway, the same thing is that it was actually about spreading that across 2 departments as opposed to having segregation. So this policy is essentially doing the same thing. It's bringing both of those departments back in to looking after the recovery of those funds.
Councillor Hancock?
So I move that we lay this on the table until we get that other information, because it's going to be similar, because I'd like to know what the average debt, that we write off for this one as well.
I've just asking that question. I'm just waiting for a response.
For
As soon
both
as I get-
policies?
Yeah.
Thank you.
As soon as I get an answer, I'll come back to you.
No other questions? Councillor Guthrie?
My question's on page 95. I just wanted to be a little bit more clear on dot point number 5. The debtor is an inoperative corporation and without assets. And just keeping in mind that we've had some debts in the past that have been corporations without assets that have actually incurred big debts. Does that need to be in there, or do we need to have that really very clearly that it's clear that they're unable to be?
Let me just grab my notes.
Yeah.
This is a sundry policy, no, it's not a
Sundry debtors, yeah, it's just debtors.
It's minor stuff, it's
Is that
not for the major
Not
ones.
Still would like to get clarification.
But if we can, so we can take the questions, we won't deal with them now, we'll deal with them later. Councillor Hancock's moved to lay it on the table. Let's go to the vote on that. All those in favour? Oh, we can pull that question. It was really about that one, if you can come back and find the information about whether...
As soon as I can.
No worries. Okay, moving on. Page 97, bitumen reseal program 23-24, tender award. Councillor McMullen.
Now I'll move that council select RPQ Spray Seal Proprietary Limited as the recommended tenderer for tender 24011, bitumen reseal program 2023-24. 2, authorise the Chief Executive Officer or Delegate to enter into final negotiations with RPQ Spray Seal Proprietary Limited, noting a contract sum value of $2,092,162.24, exclusive of GST, and execute the contract if the final terms are acceptable. 3, authorise the nominated superintendent for council, the delegation to order variations up to the value of the approved budget, noting the nature of the contract and the variability associated with the bitumen seal design process. And 4, assign expenditure to the 2023-24 budget allocation for the Rural Road and Urban Street Annual Bitumen Reseal Program.
We have a second, Councillor Guthrie. Does anyone wish to speak to the motion? Then we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. (12.2) Improved speed signage, Vinya Lane, Roma. Do we have a mover? Councillor McMullen.
How will I quote that? Just that number at the top of it. Page. Sign 2 is TC 1308 underscore.
Through you, Mr Mayor. Councillor McMullen, the recommendation, if you sort of move the recommendation as reported, that will sort of pick that up, because I've got it references the schedule, and the schedule actually already calls up that
particular
sign.
I'd like to move, Mr Mayor, that Council, 1, receive the report and note that the regulatory speed signage is unable to be installed on unsealed roads such as Vinya Lane, Roma. 2, approve the installation of additional warning signage on Vinya Lane as per the recommended sign installation schedule outlined in this report.
Okay, councillor, did you have a question?
I indicated you the second, but I've also got a question.
Let's go ahead.
Is that my reading of the report was it was sign 1 and 2?
So through you, Mr. Mayor, on page 115 at the top is the recommended sign installation schedule, and that refers to both signs 1 and 2 at the location.
Yeah, both are going up.
Correct.
Right.
Yep.
Both please.
That's what I wanted to make clear.
Correct. Yep. So essentially the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 additional signs, a mixture of 1 and 2, just depending whether it's in the school bus route or outside the school bus route.
Thank you.
Okay, does anyone wish to speak to the motion?
Mr Mayor, I just think the number of complaints we're receiving, hopefully this will help eliminate the problems here.
Okay, does anyone else wish to speak? Councillor Taylor.
I'm on the blind side today. I too just want to say it'll be a great help. Councillor O'Neill and myself went and met with some along that road, and they'd just be very grateful for any signage. So thank you, Cameron.
Councillor O'Neill.
Yeah, I was going to raise a similar point. Whilst it's evident that we can't reduce the speed limit, and we all know the reasons why, I won't rehash that. I think council just doing something to try and mitigate the concerns of the residents will be well received, and these signs look like they're going to be quite large signs, and the truck drivers that are traversing this road, these signs won't be new to them, so they're going to really stand out, and hopefully it does lessen the concerns that are being raised, not just about safety, but about dust as well. Thanks to the Deputy Director for coming back with something tangible the council can do.
Okay, I'll speak to this. Certainly do believe, dust and of safety of the road. It's disappointing that we can't change the speed limit, but I do believe that we need to do what we can, so let's try the signage and see how it goes. Okay, does anyone else wish to speak? Does the move wish to sum up? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. Uh, 12.3, strategic road management, undertaking trials on alternative construction methods. Councillor Burkett.
I'd like to move that Council 1 approve the proposed trials using a number of alternative road construction methods, including A, construction using Pioneer macadam principles, and B, construction using a grid roller for placing of uncrushed local gravel. 2, fund the above mentioned trials through existing funding allocations under the flood damage program and/or annual gravel resheeting budget.
Okay, do we have a seconder? Councillor Ladbrook. Does anyone wish to speak? Well, we're going to go to the vote. All those in favour?
Sorry.
Okay, 9-0. Righto. Okay, moving on. 13.1, Maranoa Netball Association request for funding.
Mr Mayor, if I could.
Please go ahead.
Good morning, councillors and members of the galleries. Some of the councillors were available yesterday for the briefing from M&A and Netball Queensland. And what we heard there is that so just in light of the recommendation that we drafted.
No, you're right. I've indicated the Mayor that I have something to move as well, similar vein to what you've written.
Okay. What we heard was that the grant that they were looking to apply for was only for $250,000 with a 20% contribution. What we heard is that the minimum project for that shade cover was in the order of nearly $1 million. And so it was agreed that, one, the timing, and two, that that's probably not the most appropriate grant to apply for, is that the conversation was that they would look to continue to develop a business case and what they would like to proceed, and then look for some larger grant rounds in the new year.
Okay, Councillor O'Neill.
I've got, it's similar vein, but it's an alternative resolution, sorry Nikita. I'd like to move that Council 1 give in principle support to the Maranoa Netball Association for the concept of installing roofing over part or all hard surface netball courts at the precinct within Bassett Park. And 2, provide support in the development of a business case in readiness for government-funded grant programs.
Okay, Councillor O'Neill, as far as obviously in the winter time when the sun's different and so forth, early morning, do you have any options when you're talking about a canopy? Will it be there all the time, or what would be your view on that?
It's based on the delegation that we had yesterday and the request from Maranoa Netball Association. And we also have Netball Queensland representatives speak to council as well. So my recommendation is in line with the request from Maranoa Netball Association.
So through the chair, you're talking about the addition of the word permanent, or?
Well, it's just, it'll obviously be colder. We've heard the issues at the pool since we put the roof on in some ways, so it's one of these things that we...
I think it was basically the 4 courts anyway, 4 undercover, 4 out, and then
Right.
they just rotate the
Oh, yeah, okay.
Understand what you're saying, but I think it's a completely different comparison to
Yeah.
the netball courts.
Well, when the roof goes on, sometimes it can actually change the dynamics.
It does, but the one in the pool is because the water's cold, in the cold water.
But in the winter time, when we've got, kids playing early in the morning, the sun is very valuable, whereas in the summertime, you want to protect yourself from the sun.
So I put part or all, and so there's a mood to do some, not all, as Councillor Taylor's alluded to, and the canopies that they're talking about, structurally they're not just like they're at an angle, so there will be some sunlight coming in. It won't stop all sunlight on the court.
Councillor Taylor?
I'll second that.
Okay, we've got a seconder. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak to it?
I'll speak to it. I want to thank Leanne from Maranoa Netball Association for coming and meeting with council as part of yesterday's briefing. That they've clearly got a strategy for the long-term success of Maranoa Netball in that region. Pleasingly, she shared there are over 400 people, both people under 18, people are over 18. There's mixed netball happening within the region now. They have grown at a rate that I was really surprised. I know other councillors were as well. And whilst the time frame is incredibly tight for the minor infrastructure grant that she came to council to talk about, I think this is a good step in the right direction, and in fact was very supportive of this approach from council, and I think we can get to a place where everyone's happy and we can apply for much larger grants to be able to fund the lion's share from either state or Commonwealth government.
Okay, does anyone else wish to speak?
Just to say that as a user of the Bassett Park facilities, they're probably the most constant regular users, so getting better bang for the buck, and it's mixed, junior, senior, mixed, it's covering every aspect of the community centre.
Please go ahead.
Just two questions. Is there any distinction, like I noticed in the all the conversations we had, they talk about canopies rather than roofing. Same thing? Doesn't really make a difference.
Canopies a roof. Roof's a canopy.
Canopy, they talk about canopies. The other thing was too, when you say hard surfaces, you mean excluding grass.
Yeah. By defining it as the hard surface.
Yeah.
Well, just on that, I think canopy, that's why they don't call it roofing, because it's not actual, isn't it some form of poly or PVC?
Well, they've called it.
Or are you talking about corrugated?
No, they've called it in here sports court canopy.
Canopy.
Yeah.
$1 million, it won't be more than a canopy.
No, that's just the terminology. Don't stress about the semantics.
That looks like a roof to me. It might be defined as a canopy, but that's a roof, right?
Just that roofing might be considered corrugated iron.
It'll be to what the business case is developed with Maranoa Netball Association, and Leanne made it very clear as to what their approach was.
That roof is covered.
Yeah, that's right.
Does anyone else wish to speak? I'll speak. Certainly, not surprised at all how many people are playing netball. Council invested significant amount of money to put in leading courts there. It absolutely blossomed and it has continued to. So the usage is very big, as it has been also with touch football, and they're very big spectator sports. And certainly protection against sun, I think, is very important, and I hope we're also being creative as well to look at what happens in the winter time, because certainly would like to protect against the sun, but also not make it colder in the winter time, because the junior sports start pretty early and you're looking forward to the sun coming. But I'll certainly be supporting this motion, because I do believe we should be looking for some of these grants that have a high participation with significant amount of money in grants. So if we can snag one of those, and if we can have something creative as a canopy, that would be great for everyone, I believe. Okay, does anyone else wish to speak? Does Move wish to sum up?
Will, not to discount the comments that you've just expressed, Mayor, I shared some of those yesterday in respect to putting some kind of roofing over these courts. But the drive is coming from Maranoa Netball Association. It's not from council, it's from the actual users, the parents, the committee members, and from Netball Queensland. And not to mention, it was shared with us yesterday that there has been a policy change within Education Queensland around students that are at those facilities using courts that don't have a cover on them. And so I think this is the direction that Maranoa Netball Association believe that their group should be going in, and this is a way of supporting that, and hopefully working in with the state and Commonwealth to ensure that they're investing in assets like this in regional communities as well.
Okay, on that note, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0.
Areas for seating.
Oh yeah.
Like grants.
Not in the middle.
No, even on the edges.
Yeah. They do. On the edges.
Yeah. Probably more room, I think.
Yeah.
13.2, Care Outreach. Councillor Edwards.
I'd like to move that Council 1 approve a 50% reduction to use 3 powered sites into Caravan Park for the duration of their stay with a value of $832, sourced from GL 2887 2412 2132, And 2, approve care outreach's request for permission to use the Injune Council camp for a team base and to store their goods.
We have a seconder, Councillor Ladbrook, Councillor Hancock.
Thank you for the GR number, Madam CEO. Just wondering what is that?
The community service obligation, and balance is roughly about 11,000 in there. I'll just go.
Okay, does the mover wish to speak to the motion? Okay, does anyone else wish to speak? Then we're going to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? 9-0. Um, 13.3, Surat Water Management. Councillor Hancock.
Yeah, I'm happy to move it, but I do have a few questions. First of all, I just want to ask, so I've had quite a few people come to me about the river being so low in Surat, and wondering can we please let the community know within our advertising where we're up to with our water allocation, because they like to know that. The other thing is when will the bore actually be completed? I noticed what's got to happen but it actually doesn't tell us when it's going to be completed.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Through the chair, Councillor Hancock, that's fine. We can advertise. What we were planning to do was advise the community about testing of the river water as well. We've just done a blue-green algae test and it's come back negative, which is good. There's the project with the bore we'd like to update the community with. So we're intending to actually do kind of like a summer water project update with all the water information in there. The second question is the bore. Look, at the moment we're trying to work towards completing the bore project with the tanks, adding on the tanks by the end of the year. However, there is a bit of a slight delay with tank ordering at the moment. There's a bit of a lead time now with an 8-week lead time to get 50,000 litre tanks. Look, at the moment, essentially it's our top priority to get it done. So we're hoping either December or January we'd be able to complete that. But we're doing it on a local level as well, so with no extra contractors involved. So like the intake project last year, we're just trying to get an efficiency out of that. So hopefully within the next 3 months.
Because, I mean, I'm probably telling you nothing you don't already know, but it's pretty critical and we're going to be putting in water restrictions and we've had a bore sitting there that is not your fault, Director Matt, but it hasn't been operational. And so I think it's pretty critical. Also, do we know the water quality of the bore? Do we know, like, is it drinkable? Can we, like, I'm assuming it is drinkable, but I'm just wondering. Oh, sorry, Councillor Berkowitz, does it taste like Mitchell's water or does it taste like
so we haven't
Rome's
actually,
water?
So Mitchell water's chlorine in it.
So that's part of the problem with the actual activation. So the initial build was done, so we realised there was an issue with the regulator because there's a lot of gas in the bore. It had to be the regulator wasn't reading quite well. So hence we put the tanks in. Also, our intention is to blend the water as well before we put it into the tower. So yes, the water quality will be just the same as a treated water with bore, but we haven't run any tests actually since we've got that up and running. We'll do all those tests before we put it into the tower. We'll also notify the community if we do a test and put the water and blend it into the tower. It's not really our intention to run the bore into the tower to supplement. It is our backup system. So the 80 kilolitres should remain in that just in case we have an issue with the main town water supply.
Yep, sure. My follow-up questions is I noticed in the report with our water usage where we're up to September 2023.
Yep.
When does that start? When do we get a fresh? Like, what is it? Is it financial year or is it calendar year?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, so it is a financial year, and on the AB data or the the online display does have FY. We probably should make that a little clearer. And just to advise the council as well, we're having a few troubles with that online icon image of the water at the moment. It's been indicated to me, so we're just working on trying to get that up live every day. I think it's interaction with our IT system and an external one. So.
And as part of our, when we community, are we also keeping up to date that we actually have a really cool sign down on the water plant? It is actually inside on the building. I don't know if it's that visible. I'm wondering if maybe a suggestion would be maybe bring it out on the fence.
Yeah.
But it's an indicator to the community of where we are with our allocation.
Yeah.
And whether that can be kept up to date and within our communication with the SRAT people, that we can actually remind them that it's there and they can drive past and see where we're up to with our water allocation. It just sort of helps the community keep responsible.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just been sitting down at the water treatment plant, not really obvious to everybody. So we need to at least put that on the fence line or even make it more prominent position.
Yeah.
And also we need to start using key messages towards water conservation. We are blessed to have an allocation there that's $200 a year for raw water, but we do need to be mindful of usage over the long term. And so this is reports come back to council just so we're getting on the front foot with the weir, just so we can be proactive with the town water supply. There also is the fact that we believe there's 2 years of water supply in the weir. However, due to silt and build up and subsequent floods, we need to go and check that again and check our capacity. I'd like to see us, like normal state water reserve resources, we'd like to have a percentage put on that, so we could say confidently to the community we're at 60% capacity. And we'd like to put that data into a data set. So it's, you can treat it by line of sight, but we don't really have any data to support that. So I'd like to have that so we can communicate better to our community.
And I think that would be fantastic, because my last point, which has been a fair bit of community concern, is the fact that the river's getting so low, but yet council's still pulling water out to go on roads. And so if we can have some sort of a surety, then we can balance that. But my question to you is, right now, that is the feedback that I'm getting from the community, they're concerned about it. But we need to balance that with the fact that we've got all this flood damage and we're going to need water for the roads. How long would it take to get these tests back to know the percentage so we can draw the community?
A few questions there, Councillor, but I think we could probably, if Council gave me a resolution to start working towards putting that in electronic format, that would be good for me to get some guidance out of that. But in terms of bathymetric tests, I think we can do that next 3 months, so we know a reset of how long that water supply will be, and then I can bring that back to the council. Because
do you have any idea, Director Matt, on how much water council is going to need to pull out of that river to be able to do our flood damage projects?
It's a good question. It's hard to answer because we actually have the road crews, got 4 road crews with QRA, $36 million. They're actually drawing water from different water sources. That particular water source is not our primary anyway. It's only got a couple of trucks coming in and out each week. It's not actually drawing, it's only got a couple of trucks per week. And it's supporting the crew down in the Tomby Road area. They're actually getting water from AGL as well down in that particular area, so they're supporting the project. So it just depends. But look, I think it is a perception issue. We are drawing from the weir. However, I don't think we have a viable other alternative for town other than using the bore. If we could start to draw down on the bore for commercial and project reasons, if that's the way council, we can make an operational decision on that.
My feedback I've had from the community already about using bore water for roadworks is that you're pulling against our allocation. Whereas when you're taking it directly out of the river, it's not affecting our allocation, so we'd have to marry that up. So.
Yeah, that's right. And for council's information, it's an 80 meg licence and it is for the backup. So if the water became contaminated potentially or some issue became itself, we'd need to rely on that 80 meg supply to supplement the town supply. However, I have talked to the Department of Water Resource Management. They say we can actually get potentially an increase on that bore supply in an emergency situation. So it's not locked in per se. We probably get a temporary.
Thank you.
McMullen.
Mr Mayor, just in light of dot point 6, I'd just like to add, at the Gladstone conference recently, I met with the department there, and I haven't heard back yet, they're going to investigate how council could apply, or not so much apply for the funding, but what the process would be to clean the weir out because it seals it up so bad. So I said, look, the way the drought's going, it could end up going completely dry, and it would be a good time to clean it out. But I'll have to follow up. I haven't heard back as yet.
Is that all weirs or just ones that get used?
I refer to that one because up until we got the bore put in, it was very important. It still is important, don't get me wrong, but we have got backup now. We had no backup before that bore, and from what I'm hearing, some years ago, quite some years ago, they had a valve to keep the water flushing, but that failed and had to be blocked off. And when I raised about where the year weir, that was sort of vetoed because of the, I forget the words, but that water thing in the river. So it might give a chance to get some money to clean that out. The process at least is starting.
Just with that, last time we had low water, lifting the foot valve up out of the muck and sediment and that, has there been any work done as far as looking at that to make sure you've got clear water to suck, because it can shorten the life of the pumps and that?
Yeah, good question, Mr. Mayor. I did talk to Brandon's and Associates, who were sort of the overseers of that weir construction, and they were saying that it has blocked up. It's not able to be used, so we'd probably have to get a technical assessment done just to check whether it actually can be opened up again.
That's not the weir. It's not the weir. Mayor's talking about the pump that goes in for the raw water to draw out, the foot valve.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Valves, because when, there's a lot of sludge in the bottom of that, but lifting it up so you've got a bit of clear water, because, that was brought up by the community to make sure we do that when you've got different times. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. So, Mr. Mayor, from the foot valve intake project we did last year, local delivery model, we said to each other that we'd put a pontoon in potentially on the foot valve so they could be raised up at some stage, sitting on top of the water rather than in the water itself. So we haven't got a business case for that yet, but that is another strategy we need to probably put in the next 12 months. Absolutely.
Yeah, but it could even be you get it up out of the sludge, but still in the water, if you know what I mean. Just maintain that a bit more, which will save on machinery and because I think we've had pumps that have chewed out a bit prematurely in the past.
Yeah.
So they were, what I've heard in the past, they used to watch it and adjust it. So
yeah, and also, Mr. Mayor, the clarifier is probably not working as hard then because it's not having to separate all the mud from the water itself.
And Josh will know.
Yeah.
Okay, you and what wish to move, Councillor Hancock?
I move that Council 1 receive and note the information in relation to Surat water consumption and the Surat bore. 2, note the change to the watering schedule, including a restriction to cease all raw watering on Mondays effective from 1st of December 2023 in accordance with the Water Act 2000, Queensland. 3, acknowledge the new raw water schedule as follows. Summer, 1st September to 31st of March, Wednesday, Friday and Sunday, East May water from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Tuesday, Thursday and Sunday, West May water, 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Winter, 1st of April to 31st of August, Wednesday, Friday and Sunday, East May water, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday, West May water, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. 4, notify residents of this change and advise them of recommendations to conserve water during this time. 5, acknowledge that the lifting of Monday watering restrictions when the weir is at full capacity will occur when the weir has adequate supply. 6, authorise the Chief Executive Officer or delegate to undertake a bathymetric survey of the weir for long-term planning purposes for a cost of $10,000 to be taken from water supply operations.
Councillor Hancock, would you be willing to put an extra point in about investigate, because we've actually moved to the council before, about whether we can get another licence to increase our allocation for Surat? We never got a report back, I don't think, but would you be willing to put that as an extra line in the motion to investigate whether there would be to get extra water allocation for Surat?
Through the chair, in February, we did get that additional water allocation, is what,
I just asked, I think it would be a bit premature to ask an increase in allocation when we haven't started using what we've got.
Oh, no, this is, sorry, for the river. This is not for the bore allocation. This is actually for the river.
We don't want an extra allocation, we're trying to reduce the amount of water we're sucking into the river, not increase it.
No, if we had an extra allocation, we could, this is not when there's no water in the river. This is actually, so instead of 350 megs or whatever we've got, you can buy, there's other private licences around that we could buy and secure more water for Surat as it grows.
Actually, I think we did get a report on that, Mr Mayor, but...
We never had one back. Like, I moved it, but I'm just wondering whether you're interested, and if you're not, that's fine.
Through the chair, I'm a little bit confused. In February, you got notified that you did have an additional water allocation. I know you're talking about different spots, but the Department of Water looks at the licence and the amount of water, also the sources. I'm really not kind of clear as saying you want to increase water allocation that relates to
Buying a commercial water licence for irrigators for the river.
That's different to what you said. It's stopping us if we could buy Joe Blogg's water.
Well, this is what I'm asking to put in the motion. This is about a commercial water allocation licence. And there is on the river.
Water allocation.
Yeah.
That's a negotiation between the landholder and...
Yeah, but we have to put it in a report to actually go and investigate it.
So I'd be happy to investigate whether there is an option to apply for a commercial. I think I'm just a bit concerned whether it would look rude of council to go back to the department so early to ask for more water allocation.
No, this is for the river and it's an area.
You're buying it.
Yeah.
Buying it.
Yeah, investigate whether there is.
What the cost of the...
Why have we got to purchase it? What option to purchase a commercial water allocation?
and we have some guidelines in relation to how much we think, as in what...
Well, it's just to take it from 350 to say 500 or something.
Okay.
You know.
So
we've got
additional
future.
150.
Can I, sorry. I'm not against this, Mr Mayor, but I'm just trying to marry it with the report that we've got up right now. Can we, first of all, find out what capacity is left in the river? You know, like get that information back, and on the basis of that, then we'll be able to make, you know, see whether we need to investigate. Because we may not potentially be out, we might get a license, you know, like for 500, but we might not actually even have that amount of water there. Am I confused?
There's water on the creek, and we get very close to running out of our water allocation for the river. So the point is, if we had to, so we haven't got any future expansion, so purchasing a commercial irrigator's licence could give us future capacity for Surat, and that's what the line was, not to spending money, to go and find out about it. Councillor McMullen.
Mr Mayor, purchasing the allocation is one thing, but we could get another million megalitres. We haven't got the water in the creek, in the river, but if we did purchase another allocation, that would make it better when the river, at a normal time, when the river, I won't say continually runs, keeps topping up, but it's not, if that river goes dry, another water allocation is not going to help.
That was my point.
No, that's what he said before, is when it's good times, it's a safeguard for future expansion of Surat. Like if say 10 more people move to town and they've got the water there, we've got the capacity to water those lawns. That's what he's trying to get at.
In my time in council, we run very close to running out of water in our allocation, and having more allocation and purchasing, high value water that we can have for the town and this is for the future. This is not now when we're going into water restrictions. It's not going to make any more, but we talked about it 2 years ago or whatever, and it hasn't happened. So to me, it's about, but that's fine. I'm happy to bring a report separately about it.
Through the chair, you
I'm
might
happy
just
to
like
leave it
to add,
as
I just wonder if
in
it's
the last one
feasible by
is
saying investigate
water
whether
supply
there is
growth.
investigate options to purchase a commercial water licence to increase water supply for Surat, and a report be provided at an upcoming council meeting.
Yeah, I'm happy.
It's up to the mover, yeah.
That's what you're after though, isn't it?
Investigate options to purchase.
Yeah. Isn't it a commercial water licence?
Well, that's the only way, we were told last time, there was no more allocation available, we would have to purchase from private.
Yeah, that's
That's
right.
what my recollection.
Me too. I remember hearing something about that.
Allocation, for sure.
So where the allocation is, Nikita, change that to licence.
It's a licence, it's a commercial water licence.
Thank you.
I'll second that. Is the mover happy with that?
Yes, I am. Thanks, Mr. Mayor.
Right, does the mover wish to speak to the motion?
I do, just by saying that, thanks Director Matt, there has been some concerns in the community regarding the level of the river. And so thank you for bringing this report. I think it is time. I notice our neighbours have done some water restrictions, and so I think it is time that we do this and encourage our residents of Surat to conserve water. They see the river, so they do understand, and they do naturally start doing that as well. But I support this recommendation.
Please go ahead.
Before we purchase, an allocation, does that have to be, say, in the Maranoa or any part of the river? Like we can buy an allocation?
They have rules about that, and it's generally along that river or that catchment that you're allowed to buy it within a range. You just can't buy it from anywhere generally, I don't think.
So it's got to be sort of
Like connected to that, so you can use that. But there's lots of licences out there.
And the word licence actually gives you the right to the allocation, is that correct?
Yeah, it's like water harvesting licence.
Mr. Mayor, just a question. Just being a stickler, long-term plan for the cost of the $10,000 to be taken from water supply operations. Is there a GL number for water supply operations?
Just hold on, I was wondering the same thing. Yeah.
And while the CEO's finding that, can I ask a question, please?
Please go ahead.
I haven't got it, but I'm just waiting on second.
In relation to the water restrictions, I know that there's the mechanism to turn it from east to west. From my memory, there's a valve that allows it to go to it. Do we turn it off at night at 8 p.m? Like, are we sure that people are adhering to those times?
Yeah, the short answer is yes, because the water treatment plant turns the pressure on and off.
They are turning it off.
Centrally controlled.
Oh yeah, right.
I guess the parameter is that between those times they can water consistently, but it is controlled by the water treatment plant from the pressure from the pumps.
Because I know when we had that forum down in Surat, I don't know whether this term, maybe it was last time when we were talking about it, whilst there was appetite to explore and there was an understanding for the restrictions, people were concerned unless council is actually physically turning it off, people are still going to water. But you're saying that is now in place?
Yeah, look, I guess, Council, we have come across the odd open tap situation where we've had to go and say it's, while the pressure's on, the tap's just running and it's running out into someone's backyard.
Okay.
That's an odd
It's the
situation.
exception, not the rule.
Correct.
Yeah.
And we try and monitor that as best we can. We normally get neighbours that are reporting into us about that situation, mozzies and that sort of things.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Does the mover wish to speak to the motion?
I have, Mr. Mayor. Do we need to add on that GL?
Do you? We
Can we add
certainly we'll happily add that in as part of the minutes.
I'm moving that with the understanding that GL number will be.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
Right, does anyone else wish to speak? Certainly, we'll speak about this one. Very glad we're actually looking at future-proofing Surat as far as water, which will obviously not help in a water shortage, but will actually give enough for the river town to have allocation for growing numbers of people that I would hope, decide to say that Surat is home. So I think we need to be proactive, certainly supporting this, and what a beautiful town, very lucky to have the river, and anything we can do, we need to do. Obviously the water restrictions are part of life, it hasn't, flowed for quite a while, but I think the community is understanding about that, so I'll certainly be supporting this motion. Does anyone else wish to speak? Does me wish to sum up? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. 13.4. Thank you. Cultural Centre, flagpoles. Councillor Hancock.
Mayor, I'd like to move that this lays on the table to a future briefing of council.
Okay, all those in favour? All those against? 8-1 if I can call for a division. And myself. Okay, Roma Pool Maintenance and Disability Toilet Update. 168. I've got a question. With the prices and so forth, the 56, have we talked to local builders about that cost, or is it many builders, or Director?
To be honest, I probably just need to get some advice from a building specialist on when they went around and got the quotes. They would have been local quote.
Right, because it just seems. Please go ahead.
Probably been asked before, but why are we going to spend that money when the pool's going to be knocked down anyway?
Keep it to code.
Is it, we've got to have the facility?
You'd have to have disability to keep it to code.
Have we got to have that facility, or
bit rash.
To spend 50 or 60 grand on a room and going to get knocked down?
It's probably fair to say that there's many facilities that wouldn't have all ability access at the moment, and certainly as soon as you do any renovation or changes, you then enact what is today's code. And so the requirements, we don't have all ability access for, at least for the men's component to that. So one would argue that whilst it would be good to have, or there's not necessarily a requirement that we must have.
Has there been people asking for it?
So
I think that's it. The council could make some comment because we've got some better background.
Councillor Hancock.
Mr Mayor, this has been brought off a basis of a report that Councillor O'Neill and Taylor and myself put in from a community person who had come to us and told us. The basis behind it is that whilst they acknowledge that there is going to be, and they are aware of the pool development, we haven't told them when that's going to happen. And in the meantime, there's people who are using the pool for to help them with mobility, and they actually are struggling to be able to sit down on the toilets. you know, they're struggling to be able to use facilities. And so that's where this has come from. My question is the transportable disabled building, like for me, I can't see the sense in fixing one up that we're going to knock down, but whether for the time being, if we had a transportable disabled building, directed deed, would you see areas around the region that we then might be able to reuse that building at other places or even at other events where there might not be, so that we're not looking like we're wasting money? It's still an investment into our region. Would there be other places that we could use that after the pool was done?
Yeah, I think that the intent was about providing some options, one about a fixed one, noting we had potentially limited lifespan for that.
Yep.
Through to those portable or transportable ones, and clearly the word by definition suggests that you could pick it up and move it.
And there would be need around the community, I would assume, that
it wouldn't be, it would be an asset that we would be able to make use of.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Can I just ask a question, Director? Oh, sorry.
Councillor McMullen.
Now, my question is along the same lines as Councillor Hancock. My recommendation was going to be option 3, a portable accessible unisex toilet. A, can be used somewhere else. Whilst we have, I know there's one lady in particular that needs, we'll probably have.
Oh, Councillor McMullen, that's not a question.
Well,
we haven't got the debate. Let's wait till you can speak to it. Do we have a question?
What's a question?
Please go ahead.
Dr. Dean, can I just ask, to get my head around, to compare each of the three, do we know what an indicative delivery and installation costs would be for option 2 and option 3? Because that then could mean that option 2 and 3 then are either cheaper or dearer than option 4. So do we get any ballpark figure about the delivery and installation costs?
It's not something that I have to hand, Councillor. I'm sorry. I'm happy to try and follow that up if we did get an indicative cost.
Councillor O'Neill.
Through the chair, Dean or Georgie, can you just explain to me what the difference is between a transportable disabled building option 2 and a portable accessible unisex toilet option 3? I would have assumed option 2 was unisex. Or are they just two different designs?
Perhaps I don't like to necessarily just hazard a guess for something. I couldn't put my hand on my heart and explain that clearly.
But you know what I mean? Like it's a 4-wall. They're both 4-wall toilets.
I think one of them's got permanent footings. I'm reading it's not there. One is required permanent footings, one's not. So I think that maybe the transportable building is probably a little bit more not.
I see. Right. Maybe portables on a trailer.
But it's transportable with forklift pockets for lifting lugs for events, so it means you can pick it up from there. Yeah.
I've got a question. Also, have we consulted with the leasee as far as what option they had request that they thought would work best out of the options as far as putting it somewhere, doing up what we've got, things like that? Have we got that view from an operational point of view?
Again, Mr. Mayor, I couldn't put my hand on my heart. I haven't personally spoken to the contractor about those options. We definitely spoke and worked with her around, locations. But perhaps, given that the range of questions that I've fully been able to deal with, is that perhaps if I a briefing or something like that, where I can bring the specialists, the building specialists in who got the quotes on that to work to get through that. That was all right.
Okay, I'll move that we'll just lay on the table till we receive briefing and also get feedback as far as different options from the operator of the pool to be included. All those in favour? 9-0. Okay, Roma and in June, Visitor Information Centre, Christmas and New Year operating hours. Councillor Guthrie.
I'd like to move that Council 1 close the Injury Information Centre on Saturday the 23rd of December 2023 to Monday the 1st of January 2024. 2, close the Roma Visitor Information Centre and the Big Rig on the Sunday the 24th of December 2023, which is not a gazetted public holiday, and gazetted public holidays Monday the 25th of December 2023, Tuesday the 26th of December 2023 and Monday the 1st of January 2024. 3, open the Roma Visitor Information Centre and the Big Rig on Saturday the 23rd of December and between Wednesday the 27th of December to Sunday the 31st of December 2023 between the hours between 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. excluding the public holidays. And 4, the last Big Rig Night Show Sunset Experience for 2023 be held on Friday the 22nd December 2023 and the first night show Sunset Experience restart on Wednesday the 3rd of January 2024 at 6:30 p.m.
Okay, do we have a seconder? Councillor Edwards. Any opposition? I've got a question. Are these in line with what we've done this year? Last year, I should say.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Probably just a couple of pieces of information and including that question. So the cafe has advised that they'll be closed from Christmas Day until the 2nd of January. And then we, sorry, I was trying to be polite. Sorry, Beck's Cafe at the Big Rig will be Christmas Day to 2nd of January. We also, in relation to, for the Big Rig, is that from the 27th to the 31st, we'll do a $5 local rate for everyone during that time, because we acknowledge people are coming to town and we'll have friends and family, so we'll do that. Mr. Mayor, in relation to the was it similar to this year? I think whilst I can get the exact details, it would be fair to say that for the Big Rig User Information Centre, this year we'll be open more than we were last year.
Okay, any other questions?
Just a question on that. I think it's a fantastic idea, but just flagged in my mind. Do we need council resolution to be able to alter the price? Because did we set the price at a council resolution? We set the price and the local price. So I just wonder if you need a resolution to be able to change it. I'm supportive of it, Dean. I just want to cover it.
If we buy times in our fees and charges, we do. We need to articulate it in a resolution.
Yeah, and it'll be in our fees and charges. So I just, who moved it? Councillor Guthrie, would you be open to just adding in the price change for the Big Rig between those dates to offer it at a $5 local level?
We've already got that in a resolution that if you can provide proof of being a Maranoa resident.
Yeah, they're opening it to everybody. So they're going to just charge $5 for everybody for those dates, which is what Director Dean just said.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah. So if we can just add.
So sorry for hands up. That the Big Rig from the 27th of December to the 31st of December, that there is a $5 flat rate for all entry.
During that period.
Nikki, but it's actually not working on the screen.
Do you want to just let me put this one. Right, for interest, yeah. For all visitors, yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Or that the entrance price to
admission fee or whatever, yeah.
Council, that doesn't make sense either. That council, that the Big Rig, you need to fix that.
council offer or
Oh yeah, amend the fees and charges.
offer public entry to the Big Rig. So I'll read that again.
Yeah, please go ahead.
So the addition will be that Council 5 offer public entry to the Big Rig from the 27th of December to the 31st of December 2023 at a $5 flat rate fee for all visitors during this period.
Now, Councillor Ladbroke had a question.
So why the reason for the, reduction in,
If you've got visitors that would like to go.
I think a couple of things, Councillor. One, we acknowledge that the cafe will be closed during that time. We do note that people do have people come to town, and it would be a good opportunity that while they're here that they get friends and family to show them around.
how many staff would we need to run that still?
We usually just had the one or two there, and we have an overlap. Someone opens, and then there's an overlap during the middle of the day, and then the back end. I didn't.
There's also volunteers.
We do work public holidays, and as part, we're required to stay open as part of the accreditation for the Visitor Information Centre anyway, and the and the recommendations with this as from the staff at the Big Rig, they've opted to want to stay open for that time.
Mr Mayor.
Please go ahead.
Just wonder for completeness, what council's intending on doing here is amending our fees and charges. So it needs to read 5, that council, which you got up at the top, amend the fees and charges schedule for public entry to the Big Rig from the 27th of December to the 31st at a flat rate.
Yeah.
Amend the fees and charges schedule
Public entry.
for public entry to the Big Rig, yeah.
And Councillor Guthrie just had on the end of December, she had
I think
2023.
please,
Yeah.
just to show that it's a short-term fixed period, the Christmas break of this year.
Question, Mr Mayor.
Yeah, please go
The
ahead.
CEO or Director Dean. With this amendment, I'm not against it, but does that mean it'll happen every year, then we won't have to come back to the table?
Says
2023
No.
on the top.
Once you amend the fees, you said there's something with the permit.
We're only amending
Stop
for
the
those
dates.
dates,
The dates around it, yep.
To those dates.
which is 2023. So those dates will never come around again.
No, the dates won't, no.
No, so that's all you're doing.
Councillor Hancock, Councillor Taylor, sorry.
Just a question on the Indian one, then they don't have to open? You know, in those you said we have to open, did they don't have to open?
With a director, but they have received advice from the tourism group that you're.
So, Councillor, yeah, we've been liaising with the tourism group, the accrediting body, and they have given approval for us. The timing of this report, we haven't really fleshed it out, with the other stakeholders of the centre, but we've received it.
So if you don't want to do the hours, you have to have permission not to?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, does anyone wish to speak to this? Then we're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. Okay, we'll break for morning tea. Back in half an hour. Okay, we'll keep going with the meeting. Okay, 14.1, positive council relations. I move that this lay on the table till we've had a briefing on this item. We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. .2, if we can blow that screen up when you, please. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Okay, 14.2, Roma Show Society extension of user agreement. Please go, Councillor Ladbroke.
Conflict with 14.2, Christian Rome Show Society, extension of user agreements, declaring Councillor Local, person of interest. The related party is my wife Alana Local, the particulars of interest. My wife Alana is president of the Rome Show Society. The type of conflict is a conflict interest and the action on ABC room on the matter is being discussed.
No pressure, Councillor Apple.
Service, Tony carries on, Chair.
Okay, Roma Show Society extension of user agreement. Councillor Guthrie and Councillor Labrador has left the building actually.
I'd like to move that Council 1 enter into a user agreement with the Roma Show Society Inc. for a further 3-year term from the 1st of May 2025 to the 30th of April 2028, with a 5-year option to renew on 1st of May 2028 to the 30th of April 2033, if both parties are in agreement. And 2, authorise the Chief Executive Officer or delegate to execute the user agreement with the Roma Show Society Inc.
Councillor Hancock.
I just have a question.
Please go ahead, and I'm happy to second that.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Mayor Tanya, I just noticed in your risk, thanks for putting that in, that the show, the risk is about the development of the PCYC and the Maranoa Netball Association and the Roma District Tennis Association and the Basketball Association. Just my question with that is, what area, is it just the actual huts that we're putting the lease on? Or is it actually area attached to?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor, the area that the agreement is over, that whole area is one large reserve.
Yes.
So it's only actually over the area where the huts are. We've identified that as a risk because the tennis club have already thrown up the idea that in the future they may like to, or it would be the logical place for them to extend their tennis courts into. The Show Society is looking for a 10-year agreement. What we've actually considered saying, our recommendation being the further 3-year term, with then a 5-year option is that, council's still got those options at those points in time to consider. If things change.
If things change, it does give us an option to be able to just consider. That's right. And at any stage with the option to renew, is that both parties need to agree?
Yes, that's right. So the recommendation is that the option to renew if both parties are in agreement.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, thank you.
And over time, it could change. There could be something else happening at Castle Park that, it's more convenient.
Yeah.
You don't know.
That's right. Thank you.
I'm just wondering if the term from the 1st of May 2025 to April, is that the right time? Because they had a 2-year one from February 2023, so it shouldn't have to be from March. So they recently had an agreement in February 2023 for 2 years.
So that I think what had happened is they've entered into an agreement, but the dates on the agreement where they've actually signed it, and the agreement is coming to
was further along. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, got it.
It says that the current agreement expires on 1st of May 2025. So that would be right.
Oh, yeah, I see that now, sorry.
Just looking at the map, even if the tennis court, they put another 2 tennis courts, capabilities are still shifting the hut even up further to allow for another 2 more courts, I reckon, if needed.
Councillor O'Neill.
Through the Chair, Tanya, what notice will the Show Society have to provide? How soon before the 1st of May 2028 will they have to come to council to?
So that would be recorded in their user agreement. It's generally around 3 months.
That will be in the caretaker mode of the next term of council, and they won't be able to make that decision in that time frame.
But they might be able to do it earlier. Council could do it earlier.
They'd have to come to council in
Come in earlier.
January or December of 2026. 7/28.
Right, does the member wish to speak to the motion?
Yeah, I'd just like to acknowledge that the Ramashow Society have put in for a number of grants. They've been successful with the latest one, which has been to source money from outside the region to basically put improvements on sites, offering their continuity and do longevity for their plans being calibrated.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, given what I raised, I just wonder if we should have in there that notice be sought 6 months out.
Is the member happy with that?
So maybe we have a second, instead of having put an extra paragraph in that says invite Ramashow Society to exercise, to express any interest in extending their tenure 6 months prior to expiry. Yeah.
I'm happy with that as well. Does anyone else wish to speak? Then we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0.
So
one late.
One late and
two from area.
Oh, late on the table.
Yeah. Not going back to any of that. Which one did we go? The policy. Yeah. We just gone into the meeting. Right.
We'll keep going with L1, water concessions, drought relief. I'd like to move that Council 1, provide a concession to residents in relation to water access from council standpipes in line with the following.
Some amended prices up there, because they were the old prices.
Right, okay. Righto. The following, 2 domestic prepaid water charges to be linked to the domestic potable water rate. A maximum amount of water to be taken from domestic use to be set at 52 kilolitres a month at 99 cents per kilolitre. And 3, watering of stock to be charged double the price. So is that what was always been CEO in the past?
Look, yes, through the chair, I believe the council have just had the latest prices, but yes, that's consistent with the previous decisions council's made.
All right, from the last drought.
Yes, 2018, that's right.
3, watering stock to be charged at double the price of domestic potable water rate. A maximum amount of water to be taken for stock to be set at 200 kilolitres a month at $1.98 per kilolitre. 4, the Surat and Wallumbilla water standpipes are to be excluded from this arrangement due to scarcity of supply. 5, access to be via the Injune, Mitchell and Roma standpipes only. 6, consider additional support measures should the region be officially drought declared. Councillor Edwards.
The CEO, how would we put something in addition to notify customer service? Tomorrow, because there's people lining up for water.
Through the chair, this is consistent with previous programs, and so it's all about prepaid process, and so the staff would have to set that up, and we would just have to notify our data to start updating the information in relation to the system, and then people apply through customer service.
My question is, how long before they are notified about today's decision?
The organisation, it's a decision today. So as soon, as soon as we can. But it would be effective from tomorrow if you want to specify that. Well, they're the organisation, so yes, that's our normal processes. We would pass the minutes, the draft minutes, and then allocate the actions coming out of the meeting out of that to the relevant departments. The process for council in relation to its meetings is that we approve draft minutes, so the minute taker will have those draft minutes done within the next 24 hours. But and as soon as we do that, we start allocating those actions out to the rest of the organisation.
Actually, Councillor Edward was first, Councillor McMullen. So, with the 52 kilolitres, could a truck handle any more than that? Like, is that 52 tonnes is the most a B double or a 2? Like, if they did have enough storage, like, that's what, 52 tonnes, is it? Yeah, so that's the most that they can cart, you would say, 2 trailers?
More than 3 load trains, even, I mean, that's why the limit was put last time was 52 kilolitres per month. So
it's 52 2 trailers, is it?
Depending on the size of the tanks.
Well, it could be tanks,
Just would hate to limit it and then find they can only take half a load and they pay for the truck.
Not very many households will use 52 kilolitres in a month.
No, but I mean just actually shipping it at one time, you know.
Where it will last round, the only thing we change is the other people.
Well, yeah, and they just more if it was like two trailers, a road train, and they couldn't fill it, you know. But anyway, so I'll speak to this.
I have a question.
Oh, please go ahead, Councillor Hancock.
The reason this was actually has come back is because it was laid on the table to find out why Surratt and Wallumbilla has been excluded from this report. Sorry?
It's in the functional resolution.
I want to know why.
The scarcity of water supply.
Yes, but has that always been the case in Surratt and Wallumbilla?
Through the chair, consistently in the previous resolution of council back in 2018, the report did acknowledge that the scarcity of supply in both of those areas made it difficult to provide a water access.
So my question is, so if rural people run out of water in Surratt and Wallumbilla, which only someone yesterday said to me that their tank water's down so low, can they not get water?
They've got to get the run. They're close.
Well,
Mr. Mayor, can I explain what you're going to ask?
Please go ahead.
The problem in Surratt, there were multiple trucks filling up, and everyone was concerned about we didn't have a bore, we still had a bore running, and that's why it was brought in, so that anyone wanting a truckload or a reasonable truckload had to go to Roma, was there closest to collect it.
Yeah, and I'm aware of that, and I understand that, but we now do have a bore. We actually do need to try and get it going. We still do have water in our river at the moment. There is people in Surratt who've only said to me yesterday, rural people, that they rain water and then they will have to be able to buy water. But the cost of them to travel to Roma is huge. Years ago, it was $800 for a load of water just from Surratt. So I just think that this is fairly unfair.
Through the chair, you might want to change 4 to investigate the exclusion of, it's the Surratt and Wallumbilla water standpipes are able to be incorporated in the resolution some way. If you think that there is the potential they could be, this is contextually based on what happened last time. We certainly can investigate that. If we're not sure about that, either of those suppliers and how people.
So we might not need to do the stock watering because they could suck it out of the river, but.
They didn't want to, sorry, the last time.
Yeah, I understand that, Councillor McMullen, but right now we're probably not in the same position yet that we were last time.
I think we're in the worst position until we get the pump going, get the bore going.
Well, I'm happy to change it because we do have a bore now, so we do have a difference there, whether it's not potable water.
Just to say on 4, could it be the Surratt and Wallumbilla water standpipes are to be excluded from this arrangement, in brackets,
unless for domestic water. No, to your, it's someone that's
We've got to be able to provide people with drinking water.
unless for domestic water.
Well, the only thing is they'd have to treat it with the chlorine to sell it as potable water. So that's, I don't know whether we've got that dosing down there.
Oh, I see.
But we could do it for, out of the bore, for when people need stock water, because it's a long way if they haven't got anywhere else to get it from. We do have a
It's all
bore.
good when we get the ball operating.
Well, I think it is, but we just can't put it in our main
We
line.
haven't got anything to put it in, Mr Mayor. We've got a bore sitting there, no tanks.
No, but we could fill a truck, providing that we've got a fitting to fill a truck, we could actually put it straight in the truck, but it would be non-potable water.
So through the chair, could you just say number 4, investigate the Surat and Wallumbilla water standpipes for inclusion in the program, and that way you go, and a further report be provided to council so that you get an understanding about what you can or can't do there.
Because the rates might be different too, because I know that Surats, I'm not sure about Wallumbilla, but I know that Surats have different rates for their waters because of the system that they have. So you couldn't just automatically include Surat in under those rates. We need to investigate to work something out with Surat and Wallumbilla. And even though I think Wallumbilla should be able to go from there, when you look at it, it's still a shorter distance from Wallumbilla to draw from Roma than it is from the other side of Surat to draw from Roma.
So does Surat have standpipe?
Yes.
Where the bore is?
And there's people falling out of it now.
Where the bore is?
Well, there is the town water is up there near the airport, yeah.
And I'm happy with that change, and then I would have, for inclusion in the program, non-potable and potable water. So they have the two, so that there's options, because we have non-potable water now, but we don't have potable water if we don't put chlorine into it.
And also, Mr Mayor, do you think we could put, like, as a matter of urgency or some sort of a time frame behind that, because this is going to be...
Asked before, just make sure. People finding up now waiting.
Yeah, but I agree, but I'm also saying about the Surat and Wallumbilla one, like, no sense bringing it back next year, because there's people who's going to run out of water potentially before Christmas.
Yeah, and through the chair, one of the challenges at the moment is that when you pass these motions, you were in a drought declaration status right across the region. Whilst those discussions have commenced, they're not, no decision has been made, only in partial parts of the Shire.
That's why the bottom line was put in to be reconsidered if we were officially about to.
Okay, right, okay.
That's maybe it was right, don't get me wrong, but we haven't been officially about to.
Declared, right, okay.
Okay, is the second, have we got a second or not? Oh, yeah, Councillor Edwards, are you happy with that change?
What is it? Number 4?
Number 4.
Yep.
Okay, I'll speak to this one.
Sorry, Mr Mayor, if we just put Surat and Wallumbilla water standpipes, just clarify, Madam CEO, that does mean the bore as well, doesn't it, for Surat? It's not just they're just not going to go and look at the town water. You know, I know I'm being particular, but...
Oh, you know, well, it should have the bore in there as well.
Surat
Bore / standpipe.
Yeah.
Standpipes and bore.
/bore, yeah.
For clarity though, when we moved this in 2018, originally, we were drought declared. The way I read that, Councillor McMullen, is this is a new resolution that says consider additional support should we.
Take it straight off the old resolution.
It's in here and it says point 2, this policy only apply while the Maranoa region is a drought declared region.
That's right.
Page 5, second point of that resolution for 2018 implies that we were a drought.
Yeah, it's true.
But now we're not.
No, but that
changes. But that's why we've got to do something. Okay, I'll speak to the motion. I think this is very, very important. Some of the people that have raised this are actually just got tanks and they need to fill them up, and they normally are supported by rain, and we just haven't had any rain for such a long time. So we also may have stock. So we really need to be flexible and certainly supporting point 4 in this, which is if it's non-potable, we've got that now. It's about how do we make it work, and my experience in the past, people get frustrated because we make a firm rule and then you can't do that. We're lucky now we've got the local directors that would obviously action it. But we need to get onto this and give people water at a reasonable cost. Would anyone else wish to speak to the motion?
I'll speak.
Councillor McMullen.
I'm all for listening with the amendments, and I believe the Surat one will be far better situated if we get some tension, because the stock people could buy the non-potable water then, because it won't be treated at that point. I don't believe it'll be sent to the water tower to be treated, so they will be able to buy non-potable water. It won't cost them so much to supply.
Okay, Councillor Edwards.
I'd just like to say that this resolution is terrific. It's terrific to be doing this, because it's supporting the community and sort of putting us on the front foot. So couldn't be more timely, really. So I'll certainly support it.
Okay, does anyone else wish to speak? Then we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. Do we have the information back about the earlier reports?
Yes, through the chair, in relation to, you'll recall, councillors, you had some questions in relation to your financial policies. I can advise that the write-offs in relation to gas were approximately $15,236 last year, rates $531, sundry debtors $2,221.38. So what that means is, obviously for you, your utilities policy, your thresholds are well and truly appropriate. In relation to your sundry debtors, where we had a similar threshold, you may wish to lower those thresholds if you wish, in relation to that, if you call it with those amounts. But essentially, because gas is billed to the person, that is the largest area of write-off in relation to recovery of debt.
Okay, so we'll go to 11.2, policy review, utilities debt recovery policy. Do we have anyone move that? You're going to move it, or you have moved it?
No.
Righto, please go ahead.
I'd like to move that Council 1 adopt the utilities debt recovery policy as presented. 2, rescind all previous utilities debt recovery policies if relevant. 3, update council website accordingly. And 4, with minor amendments on page 83 and 4.
Adopt the utility debt recovery policy as presented with minor amendments.
Oh, we can, yeah.
Yeah, on the first line. Yeah.
Nikita, if you want to do, Nikita, if you want to just put that after presented and make that one I was going to put it for, add after number 1.
It's not a minor amendment.
Oh, we'll look at that.
That's your amendment today, that should be reflected in the resolution. You know, with the wording you had earlier.
Amendment to include communication with councillors. Communicate
A report to be provided to council on an annual basis or 6 monthly basis. Something like that. Yeah.
You should be doing it off the back of rate notices, wouldn't you? Like
communicate the decisions to councillors.
Via a report.
Yeah, probably.
But I think utilities come each month or each quarter, don't they?
Take out minor
rates.
It's the area that you tend to write off the largest amount simply because of the way that it's billed to the person.
Okay, what page did you have?
83 and 4.
Via a report, a 6 month. What CEO suggests.
Or a report on a 6 monthly basis.
Well, that's what suggests is good work.
I think you should put the page in.
And it had, it did page 80, bottom of page 83 and page 84.
But it's really part of number 9.
Yeah, as part of number 9. Change to section 9. Section 9.
Oh, is that what they call it, section?
No. Yeah.
We call it sections or item or?
Number 9.
Item 9.
Item on page 83 and 4.
Okay, so is that what you're moving?
I'm happy with that.
We have a seconder for that motion. Righto, Councillor Taylor. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak to it? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. Okay, moving on to
87.
87. 11.3 policy review, sundry debt recovery policy. Do we have a mover?
I'm happy to move it. Just for ease, if you just want to copy what we just added into the top point from the last one and add it into.
It will just be
And
here.
I'll change the
Section
5.7.
Oh, sorry, 5.
Section 5.7 on page 95, it's 96.
Okay, do we have a seconder? Councillor Edwards.
Yeah, sorry, so I'll read it all out.
Please go ahead.
Just double checking, Nancy, are you still looking this one to be reported back on a 6-monthly basis?
Yes, look, we are looking at debtors on a monthly basis, so yes, that's not onerous.
Is that okay? Yeah. Okay. I move that Council 1 adopt the sundry debt recovery policy as presented with an amendment made to section 5.7 on page 95 and 96 to communicate the decisions to councillors via a report on a 6-monthly basis. 2, rescind all previous sundry debt recovery policies if relevant. 3, update council's website accordingly.
Councillor Hancock, wouldn't it be decisions if there's multiple ones, or is that actually meant to be decision? Like, just say they did 10 little ones and they put it in.
Decisions, any decisions that have been made.
Right, so it's more than one,
Yes.
is it? Right.
Yeah, so, yeah, to communicate the decisions.
Right. Do we have we had a seconder? Is the seconder happy with that? Yes. Okay. Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. Okay. Do we have any conflicts, councillors?
Sorry, Nikita.
Councillor McMullen.
Mr Mayor, I have a conflict of interest on C3, tender to lease council-owned land lot 410 and 411 on Y2211. I'm the councillor, obviously, and the person of interest is myself and Jean, my partner Jean. Diggers of interest, my partner Jean have an application into council for permit to occupy another parcel of land within the Shire. Declarable conflict of interest, and I leave the room on that.
Okay, any other conflicts? Councillor Hancock?
I'd like to declare a conflict on LC2. It's the same as the 4 councils, but because it's a different title, I've done it twice. Corresponds from a member of the public, declaring councillor Joanne Hancock. Person of interest, GL&JM Hancock, H5H Hancock Trust, my husband and myself, Nicholas Hancock and Stephanie Griffiths, son and partner, Peter and Karen Hancock, brother-in-law and sister-in-law. Particulars of interest, all parties above whom I have a close association with own operating vehicles. That was from time to time being instructed by the landowner to use a way route. Cover conflict, declarable conflict of interest, and action will be, although I have declarable conflict of interest, I do not believe a reasonable person could have a perception of bias. Therefore, I will choose to remain in the meeting. However, I will respect the decision of the meeting on whether I can remain and participate in the decision.
Someone else go before me because I'm still typing.
Councillor Hancock?
That'll be Taylor.
Taylor, sorry.
You need them name
I
tags.
know, you can't do without the name tag, I know. That is in the public interest that councillor Hancock participates and votes on agenda item LC2 because a reasonable person would trust that the decision is made in the public interest.
Okay, we have a second, councillor McDonald. Did we not do this earlier?
Different one.
So
Different one.
two different reports, Mr.
Yeah,
Mayor,
there's
and
one
so
in
I'm just covering basis.
Righto. Okay, so we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0. Okay.
Yeah, I'll send this to you, Nikita. Very quick. Item C5, description Golf Links Estate overland flow, declaring Councillor John Burkett. Party with interest is myself, particulars of the interest, my brother Andrew Burkett lives in Fairway Crescent Drive, so I don't even know where it is. It is in that estate, but it's not in the street that this concerns, but it's a declarable conflict of interest. Although it's a declarable conflict of interest, I do not believe that a reasonable person could have a perception of bias, therefore I will choose to remain in the meeting and will respect the decision of my fellow councillors as to whether I can remain and participate in decision making and voting.
I'll come to his
Councillor
question.
Taylor.
I'll move that as the public interest that councillor Burkett participates and votes on agenda item C5 because a reasonable person would trust that the decision is made in the public interest.
We have a seconder, councillor Hancock. Okay, then we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0. Any other conflicts, councillors? Okay, then do we have someone to move into closed? Councillor Hancock.
In accordance with provisions of section 254J3 of the Local Government Regulations 2012, the council resolved to close the meeting to the public at 11:48am to discuss confidential items that its councillors consider is necessary to close the meeting. In accordance with section 254J5 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, the following table provides the matters to be discussed and an overview of what is to be discussed while the meeting is closed. Agenda item C1, overdue rates, commencement of legal action. C2, nomination of projects, Queensland Resilience and Risk Reduction Fund 2023 to 24. C3, tender to release council owned lands, lot 410 and 411 on Y2211. C4, Wuru Canteen Project. C5, Golf Links Estate Overland Flow. C6, tender 24004, supply and delivery of one articulated dump truck. C7, temporary adjustment arrangement at Compassionate Grounds. C8, potential car park update. C9, increase in livability through resident safety and property protection for the Maranoa. LC1, flood damage event 13 program update. LC2, correspondence from member of the public. LC3, procurement supply of quarry products. LC4, accumulation of fuel loads on industrial premise at 7 2 Mile Road, Roma. LC5, childcare crisis in the Maranoa assistance. LC6, water and stock update, Wallumbilla locality.
Okay, we have a seconder. Councillor Ladbrook. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 9-0. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
I've got a conflict with LC6 in description, wandering stock update, Wallumbilla locality, declaring council as myself, Jeff McMullen, the person of interest is myself and my partner Jean, particular of interest, myself and my partner Jean have an application to council for a permit to occupy another parcel of land within the Shire. Type of conflict is a declarable conflict of interest, and the action is I'll leave the room while the matter is discussed and voted on.
I move we go into closed.
Do we have any other items, or we'll do that one first?
Nothing to add to that.
Oh, well, are there any other items for committee?
There are.
For to go into closed?
Would they be closed or open?
You've got one white one.
That's open.
That's
Probably,
Open?
That's white.
that one.
Closed.
Okay,
Is this one closed or?
that's the closed access, so, closed access, and the other one would be closed too, I should have. And,
Okay.
the item for that,
Yeah, we're just
Well,
gonna add it.
I'll add it to the, I'll move that we add
then you can,
item LC7, Roma CBD festoon lighting project to the agenda.
Okay. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Taylor, all those.
Councillor Hancock.
Hancock, sorry. All
That's just, it's just adding it to the agenda.
All those in favour? 8-0.
What else do we have to add to the agenda?
So people may have conflicts on LC7 now too.
Yeah. So, well, have we got anything on the screen for those?
for the, okay,
One. Yeah, like you said.
That'll be for,
and that was
LC7.
and L,
Mr Mayor, while people are considering their conflicts, did you say that one of these motions without notice is going into closed?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, do you want to add that to the agenda to see if people have a
that's
conflict?
one, and then you've got, yep.
My notice is open.
Yep, sure.
You got wording.
Yes, Nikita, if you could just pop that wording up for me.
Mr Mayor, we need to give you a pen that doesn't click.
Yeah, it's all
You've
done.
clicked it all day.
My head is.
If it was my son's, I'd be taking it off you.
I'm just about ready to kill you.
Nicely.
I don't know about that.
No, through,
So we're just waiting. I think Edwina's had a motion to go on the agenda first.
The other awards, the local area awards are done.
Yes.
Anna's got them.
Yes.
Katie has the vouchers to go through.
Great. All right. Anna knows that. I might just double check with Anna. Tell Anna.
no, it was something.
Someone unmuted. Yeah. Or wait. So who's that?
Yeah, I'll move. Do we have a number for it?
it'll be,
LC8.
LC8? And we need the title up there.
which is capacity life Roma resource.
Okay, I'd like to move an item without notice, capacity and life of Roma Quarry resource. I'd like to move that this gets added to the agenda as a closed item. And we have a seconder for that motion, Councillor Edwards. All those in favour? No, but we'll circulate one, if we can circulate a copy.
I have actually got Nikita just to put it up there because it's easier for
Right,
us to
and we'll do
read
it
it than
in
it is
closed
to
anyway.
circulate
So
it.
that was 8-0 as far as I understood.
Yep.
So, and there was one more, I think.
There's a public agenda item, another item without notice.
Okay,
It'll be
who
for
has that
public
one?
agenda. Councillor O'Neill,
Please go ahead.
Elsing, oh, it's not Elsing.
Oh, yeah, right. Can I move that item L
11,
L2 be added to the agenda, titled Maranoa Regional Council Christmas Community Lunch.
I'll second that. All those in favour? 8-0. Did we do the one with the, we haven't done the conflicts for that other one. So, Roma CBD festoon lighting. So have we got any conflicts for that one? Councillor Edwards, please go ahead.
Myself, I can't prove it is Nikita. Yeah, that's it. Particulars of interest. I am an employee of Leichhardt Group. And lease, which leases premises, leases premises at 63 Vale Street. Employee and partner. And the lights, you know, what's the word? Traverse in front of, you know, in front of the shop. Sorry, the premises. In front of the premises. That's good. Yes, declarable, and I'll leave the room yet. Okay. So are we?
So well, then we'll do anyone else with a conflict?
Yeah.
Do you have a conflict?
Well, LC7, Roma CBD, festoon lighting. Yeah, I don't know what person with the interest is myself. Particulars of the interest, we have a retail business in the Howe Street, Roma, and the lights that are talked about in the report are above the street. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I think that's enough.
And my action is going to be leave the room while the matter is discussed and voted on. Okay, any other conflicts? Okay, do we have someone to move?
I move we go in closed.
We have a seconder, Councillor McMullen. All those in favour? 8-0. Okay, we're going to get back on to
C1, is it?
Yep.
C1.
So, through the chair, the director has asked.
C1. We're on
this is
C1.
C1. Okay.
C1, overdue rates, commencement of legal action. Do we have a mover, Councillor Taylor?
I'd like to move the council endorse the next step in the rates recovery process, that is to proceed.
Here you went.
I can't either when
I was doing big. That council endorse the next step in the rates recovery process, that it is to proceed to filing a statement of liquidated claim with local magistrates court after the 8th of November 2023, serving upon the rates payer who have, 1, not paid the outstanding rates, 2, not entered into an appropriate payment arrangement, and or 3, not compiled with an appropriate payment arrangement.
I'll second that.
It was 3, not
Sorry, not
complied?
complied, that's right.
Complied, sorry.
Okay, we have a seconder.
I have a question.
O'Neill, councillor Hancock.
Has the address been updated in the report?
Yes.
Sorry, I haven't had a chance to read that. Thank you.
Okay, so does anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 7-0. Okay, C2, nomination of projects, Queensland Resilience Risk Reduction Fund 2023-24 QRRF. Do we have a mover? Councillor O'Neill.
I'll move that Council 1 apply for funding under the Queensland Government's Queensland Resilience and Risk Reduction Fund 2023-24 with project...
Project 2?
It was project 2. Project 2, upgrade improvements to Mitchell Evacuation Centre, to include the co-contributions required in the 2024-25 budget if successful, and 3, authorise the Chief Executive Officer or delegate to sign funding agreement and any other necessary documentation if successful.
Okay, do we have a seconder? Councillor Ladbrook, any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak to it? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0. Right, moving on to C3, Councillor O'Neill has conflict and...
Councillor McMullen.
Sorry, Councillor McMullen has left the room. So we're going with tender lease, council only, in lot 410 and 411 on Y2211.
Are you right? Do you need us to stop? Okay.
I'd like to move that council decline the tender received to lease council-owned land located in Bank Street, Yulbar, known as lot 410 on Y2211 and lot 411 on Y2211, to call for expression of interest for 1-year grazing licences to graze lot 410 on Y2211 and lot 144 on Y2211, 4 to 6 Bank Street, Yulbar, and lot 11 on lot 1 on Y2137. Y22137. 58 to 62 Stevenson Street, Yulbar. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Ladbrook. Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0, 7-6-0, I should say.
Yes.
Okay.
Councillor.
Well, should we do one of the ones that, is there another one?
We'd have to move, it'd be quicker to get him, otherwise we have to move the agenda about.
Okay, C4, Waroo Canteen Project. Do we have a mover? Councillor Hancock.
I move that Council 1 select SM&KA Duck Builders Pty Ltd as preferred supplier for Waroo Canteen construction, noting the submitted price for the construction only of $572,500 exclusive of GST, including GST of $57,250 for a total price of $629,750. 2, allocate additional funding to the Waroo Canteen construction project from the following existing budget allocations. A, $250,000 from Roma Airport Sewerage Upgrade WO20347, with project to be delivered in stages and remaining budget to be considered as part of financial year 24-25 budget deliberations. B, $100,000 from floodway program WO 22869 due to an additional floodway being delivered last year under the Mount Moffat upgrade. 3, authorise Chief Executive Officer or Delegate to enter final negotiations with SMKA Duck Builders Pty Ltd and form a contract to construct the Roo Canteen if terms are acceptable. 4, authorise the Chief Executive Officer or Delegate to enter into final negotiations with Ergon Energy and form a contract to upgrade Woolloomooloo Sporting Grounds to 3-phase power, if required, after power audit, noting the submitted price for the power upgrade of $97,502 exclusive of GST.
So just with that last one, are you going to put that to go to a quarterly review? Because
yeah, I was just actually thinking that myself. Where is that?
or do you want a report to come back?
It could be just if required, that the power upgrade be considered as part of the Q2 review. And that way it's still within the term and you're not going to slow anything down. Nikita, I'd just make that a separate item, but power upgrade will be considered as part of the Q2 review. Does that reflect what everybody thinks? Because it still might be some time before we know the answer.
So it's $100,000, Nellie. Do you think it's worth a report to come back to council just to talk about it? But like you put in something to keep it going that you want to know about?
Look, through the chair, you could put, if required, the power upgrade will be considered as a separate report to council.
That needs to be part of 4, that doesn't flow now.
Yeah, it does. But if required, power upgrade will be considered. I suppose, Mr. Mayor, if that just goes on after the exclusive GST in number 4.
You can just add it to number 4.
I suppose from my point of view, it's saying, well, if it's required, we'll consider it as part of the Q2 review, which we'd be expecting a report to come with.
Yeah.
Like, we'll have to discuss it then. So.
What about, if I can, through the chair, I'm happy to second it with the suggestion of point 5, which is any feedback from the relevant stakeholders be provided to councillors in a timely manner to ensure that we are fully briefed on the next steps of this project.
Okay, so is the mover happy with that?
Yeah.
Right, does the mover wish to speak to the motion?
No, sorry, that was, sorry, Councillor Hancock, provided to councillors. Yeah. Thanks, Nicola.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. This has been a long drawn-out project. There has been a lot of consultation and there's been a lot of to and fro. I just want to see this project come forward to the community. It is a community asset. It will be used. It is a lifetime, well, I shouldn't say lifetime project, but it's a project for our future years and our future generation. And I just want to acknowledge the work that Officer Lisa Chandler has put in for this project over a couple of years now to try and get it off the ground. And it would just be really good to be able to see this started. And this is the resolution that we need to be able to move this project forward.
Okay, I'll speak against the motion. Certainly support what the community wants as far as the canteen. I just think the cost blowouts with this is just too high. I do believe that quite rapidly the feedback I'm getting, there's value for money coming back into construction. And I believe, in the next 12 months, there'll be more value for money. I understand we would have to get an extension, but I really can't support it because I think we're better to do really good long-term infrastructure, keep the costs reasonable. I do believe that there is value for money out there. And maybe we need to change the design and so forth, but provide more value for money. No reflection on on any of our builders, but it's just also, you know, what we ask for. So I certainly think that, certainly support the community really making a decision on what they want, but I think the average community would not want to see cost blowouts, and yeah, we should be driving that value for money by maybe changing what we're doing. Okay, does someone wish to speak for the motion or against? Councillor O'Neill.
I'll speak for. First off, I want to echo the sentiments that Councillor Hancock has expressed to the work that the staff have put in particular Lisa, over the last 2 to 3 years on this particular project. The community are very clearly passionate about this project, and with passion can lead to some difficult conversation and difficult times. But I think we got to a point where the community was happy with what the concept was, and it was going to value add and is going to value add to many groups that utilise this particular facility in Surat. I recognise that there are increased costs, but when you look across the works that council have been doing, particularly over the last 18 months, the costs have increased. I'm a little bit more pessimistic in terms of the evening out of the costs of building. We saw yesterday another interest rate rise because the inflation rate is not moving at the rate that the Reserve Bank wants. So I fully expect that we're going to see this continue for some time. And if we want to achieve the vision of this community, just as we had this same debate only a couple of weeks ago with the Wallumbilla community and the Calico Cottage, then we are going to have to address the things that are costing a little bit more. And all credit to the staff who have identified savings and projects that aren't going to be realised in this financial year, and we're drawing on those. We're not dipping into cash reserves. We're utilising other funds that have already been budgeted for that won't be realised, and including that with the initial funding that had come that has to be spent by June next year to achieve this investment into the Surat community. On that basis, I'm more than happy to have seconded the resolution and debate in favour of it today.
Okay, does anyone wish to speak against or for the motion?
Against.
Please go ahead.
All that I'm concerned about is the price, that it's doubled what we were allocated for that, and it was just an upgrade of the canteen, and I just think I think a lot of the Surat community wouldn't be happy with the amount of spent.
Okay, does anyone wish to speak for the motion or against? Does the mayor wish to sum up?
Yeah, I do, thanks, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, I want to acknowledge that the price is high, and we have had a lot of conversation about this today. Has it blown out? Yes, but the blown out prices has come with how that has right across the region in every project that council's looking at, and it's not just in our region; it's in every region. So for me, yes, the price is high, but this has been on the burner for 3 years. This project, it's been a long time coming, and the price has gone up over that period of time. And some of the reason that it has taken the time is because of the pricing. And staff has spent a long time and a lot of effort going back to the community groups, and they have reduced what is going to be put into this facility because they acknowledge that the price is high. But this is a time-sensitive project. It has got grant money attached to it, and I just feel that we have pushed it out as far as we can push it out time-wise to be able to get this project done in the time that it's needed to be done, to be able to see this come forward for the community. I don't think we either need to scrap the project or we need to just get on with doing the project. And I think the community has been very loud in saying that they do need an upgrade to the kitchen. The kitchen as it stands is not up to code. It does need to be fixed up, and this is the way the community has come up with a plan to do this. So I'm just asking councillors to, yes, the price has gone up. It has been no fault of anybody, but the community does deserve to have a new canteen at the Roo Sporting Complex. The users have actually said that they will be prepared to put in money to be able to fit the canteen out, to be able to look at the stuff that's not included in the project. So they are wanting to invest in this investment for the community. So I just ask councillors to accept the recommendation that's put up today, and let's get this project done for the community, because all projects across the region are being blown out with the prices.
Okay, on that note, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? 4-3 if I can call for a division. Okay, C5, Golf Links Estate Overland Flow. I'd like to move that Council 1 undertake further investigate into an in-ground detention basin and pump station configuration to improve the outland stormwater flow situation within the Golf Links Estate Roma. 2, allocate funding from within the existing 23-24 budget for stormwater improvements and progress with the infrastructure improvements on Webb Court Roma to assist with the flow of stormwater within the cul-de-sac. Do we have a seconder? So Councillor Ladbrokes was first. Does anyone wish to speak to it? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 7-0. Okay, moving on to C6, tender 240004, supply and delivery of one articulated dump truck. Councillor McMullen.
Mr. Mayor, I'll move that Council 1 award tender 24004, supply and delivery of one articulated dump truck to Komatsu Australia Proprietary Limited for the purchase of a articulated dump truck for the purchase price of $594,000 inclusive of GST, and 2, authorise the Chief Executive Officer or delegate to enter into negotiations with Komatsu Australia Proprietary Limited and form a purchase order for the supply of and delivery of one articulated dump truck.
Okay, do we have a seconder? Councillor Taylor. Any opposition? I'll speak in opposition. Does the mover wish to speak to the motion?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I just think this has been on the table for a while, and it's very important we get this new truck to make the operations of our quarry run much smoother.
Okay, I'll be speaking against the motion. Certainly won't be supporting that. I believe for us to have the most financially efficient and profitable situation, we need to work with and embed with local business. I believe there's options out there where we don't have to spend this $594,000 in plant, as well as all the on-costs. So I certainly believe there's other options, and we could be repurposing this money to plant in other areas that we don't have other options. Does anyone wish to speak for the motion? Councillor Hancock.
I'm going to support this motion because the decision to purchase the dump truck was actually included in the budget. So when the budget was handed down, it was decided that the purchase of the dump truck was going to occur, and today's decision is just to award the tender on where we're going to supply and delivery of the dump truck, and so on that basis I'm going to support this because it was already in the budget.
Okay, does anyone else wish to speak against or for? Does the mover wish to sum up?
I'd just like to say we have been and we'll still be hiring local dump trucks as required. In the past we've had to hire two dump trucks on occasion, so I think it's important we have our own thing working at the quarry.
Okay, on that note we'll go to the vote. All those in favour? All those against? 4-3 if I can call for a division. C7, temporary adjustment arrangement. Okay, Councillor McMullen, do you have one? Councillor McMullen's left the room. I'd like to move that Council 1 enter into a formal short-term agreement with the resident to graze horses on council-owned land, being Lot 2 on RP 101-099 from 23rd of November 2023 until 27th of September 2024. 2, as per Council's 23-24 fees and charges, the new agreement would be at the rate of $9 per head per week, maximum 5 horses. 3, Council undertakes expression of interest process in July 2024 and interest in leasing Lot 2 on RP 101-099 for a period of 3 to 5 years. Do we have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Ladbroke, any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak to it? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? That's 6-0. C8, potential car park update. Do we have a mover, Councillor Taylor?
I'd like to move that Council 1 acknowledge this report, enacts resolution /07.2023/61, and 2, receive and note the report.
Do we have a seconder? Councillor Taylor. Any opposition?
Councillor Hancock.
Oh, sorry. Councillor Hancock. Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 6-0. Okay.
C9.
C9. C9. C9, increase livability through residential safety and property protection for the Maranoa. I'd like to move that this lay on the table until the next meeting of council to receive information. All those in favour? 6-0. Okay, LC1, flood damage event. So is that right for you to go on to LC1? So you know the LC1 flood damage be withdrawn? Did you say?
Yeah, that's what I've moved, yeah.
Right, and we need a seconder. Councillor Hancock.
This was asked of the officer, so that another report will be provided in a fortnight.
Okay. All those in favour? 7-0. LC2, correspondence from the member of the public. I'd like to move that council receive and note the report and conduct, have your say survey in relation to, well, not just have you say, or how would you say it?
So community consultation.
Community consultation in relation to the need for a public wave bridge in the region. 2, explore opportunities for a public access to private wave bridge in Surat. We have a seconder, Councillor Hancock. Does anyone wish to speak? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 7-0. LC3, procurement, supply of quarry products. Do we have a mover? Councillor McMullen.
Now I'll move that a report will be prepared for an upcoming meeting addressing the concerns in relation to the approved supply of quarry products, including landscaping supplies.
We have a seconder, Councillor Ladbroke. Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 7-0. LC4, accumulation of fuel loads on industrial premises at 7 2 Mile Road, Roma. I'd like to move that council one request, is that the correct? Is that change?
It's the bottom change, but the top is the same.
All right. That council one request an urgent meeting with the landowner to agree on immediate action in relation to the reduction of the fuel load stockpiles on site. 2, write to Queensland Fire and Emergency Services, QFES, requesting assistance in mitigation of the fuel loads. 3, receive a report outlining A, the outcome of discussions between the landowner, QFES and council staff, and B, the costs associated with addressing the excessive product present on the site. Do we have a seconder? Councillor McMullen, does anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 7-0. LC5, childcare crisis in the Maranoa. Do we have a mover?
I'm happy to move, but if you're going to, I just wonder if the first word of one should be that council introduce a childcare sector study bursary for workers.
Yeah, I don't know.
So you want me to move it?
You can move it if you
I'll
like.
move it. I'll move that council one introduce a childcare sector study bursary scheme for workers studying and working in childcare in the Maranoa, with the bursary paid on the successful completion of the following qualifications and on the confirmation of intention to work in the Maranoa for a period, for a 12-month period. First dot point certificate $3,000, second dot point diploma $2,000, third dot point bachelor $3,000. Next, top point retention bursary. We'll have to fix this up a bit. Retention bursary for diploma or bachelor qualified workers in the Maranoa. Sign up to the scheme after 3 years, $5,000. That the combination of bursaries be funded to a total of $100,000. 2, seek potential funding partners to come together to explore cross-sector investment, including organisations such as Origin, APLNG, Santos, Senex and the South West Hospital Health Service. 3, a report be provided at the next council meeting.
And through the chair, you could do one as one ABCD for the dot points.
Yeah, okay.
I'm happy to second that. Councillor O'Neill, are you happy just to have something flexible as far as the CEO, you know, all the small tweaks that need to happen in that resolution and so forth, so it's not so prescriptive, except for the main parts?
As in terms of the ABCD?
Yeah, or just little tweaks to do with the 12 months.
Well, I think that'll come back in the report,
yeah.
So yeah.
Right. Okay, does the mover wish to speak to the motion?
Thanks very much, Mayor. Very quickly, we all know in this room that there is a crisis in the ability for our region to cater for the number of people that require childcare. It is having an impact on businesses, both large and small, attracting new employees to the region, not to mention our own residents who are expanding their families and not being able to go back to work because they can't access childcare. This here is one way of starting to address that, but it needs to be done in partnership with major players within the region. We'll be the first to acknowledge that council needs to play a part, but so does industry, and so does organisations like the South West Hospital Health Service. Collectively, if we all come together, we can come up with the solutions to be able to fix this problem in the short term.
Okay, I'll speak to the motion. Certainly support this. This has been driven by knowledge of people that work in the industry. I believe, just as Dharmas in Australia are attracting staff because it's a it's an attractive situation to be able to get permanent residency if you're coming from overseas. This will be attracting for the Maranoa for people to work in childcare. So we know that there is more capacity out there that's not being utilised. We even heard that today because the lack of staff. This is about making the Maranoa more attractive to come and work in childcare, and therefore more people to be able to access childcare. It was only this week that I was a professional would like to come, cannot get childcare for next year. It's of major concern. I'm excited that this proposal, that if we approve it today, can start making a big difference by getting Maranoa talked about as a place to be in childcare in Australia. Okay, does anyone else wish to speak? And does the move wish to sum up?
No, thank you.
We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 7-0. Okay, moving on. 106, thank you. LC6, wandering stock update, Wallumbilla locality.
And Councillor
I got a comment. Thank you. Councillor McMullen is leaving the room and has left the room. I'd like to move that I'd like to move that Council, note that this report enacts Council Resolution OM/10.2023/63 to approve a short-term minor stock route permit for a period of 3 months to address the public safety concerns, subject to A, a temporary fencing of the laneway to contain the wandering cattle, and B, payment of an invoice for the permit. Do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Ladbrook. Any opposition? Does anyone wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? That's 5-6-0, I should say. Now,
LC7.
LC7. What's LC7?
will be on the screen.
LC7.
So, yes, we've got a conflict on LC7, so I'll leave the room.
Okay, both the Mayor and Councillor Edwards have left the room with conflicts of interest. So we've got agenda item LC7, Roma CBD festoon lighting. Do I have a mover, please? Councillor O'Neill.
I'll move that Council 1 approve the scope of the Roma festoon lighting upgrade to include fully programmable RGB LED festoon lights, and 2, approve to fund the project shortfall of approximately 80,000 to allow the above mentioned scope to be delivered, and assign the additional budget from achieved savings through Priority Street Lighting Program Work Order 22879 and Annual Reseal Program Work Order 24561.
The seconder, please. Councillor Ladbrook. Any opposition? Anyone wish to speak for or against?
All I'm going to say is that we need to include the additional money to do this project right. It has been an investment done by previous councils and has lasted the test of time. This council will make the investment, and the same return will be had on this asset for our community to enjoy in the CBD run.
No one else wish to speak? I'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 5-0.
Number 6.
Okay, any other items?
Well, we think we've got that one that needs to be.
It's done.
No.
Okay. LC8. It's going to be called Capacity of Life for Roma Quarry Resource. I'd like to move that council be provided with the draft tender documents for options regarding the wholesale supply, stockpiling and delivery of material as required to Roma Quarry at the next ordinary meeting of council. 2, acknowledge that the advice in relation to the procurement should be available prior to the next briefing. Well, that might not be, that might be. Oh, I don't think we need that.
We need number 2.
No. Righto, do we have a seconder? Councillor McMullen. Anybody wish to speak? We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 7-0. Okay, we've got another item, I think.
Yep, L2.
L2. And it's called...
Maranoa Regional Council Christmas Community.
Yeah, Maranoa Regional Council Christmas Community Lunch. Councillor O'Neill.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to move that Council 1 hold a Maranoa Regional Council Christmas Community Lunch on Friday the 15th of December 2023 to fund the lunch through GL 284 I think I wrote, 2001.2001 to a value of up to 6,000, and 3, invite community members through local service organisations, along with advertisements across council's social media platform and through Maranoa State.
We're going to have it. Through the chair, I think there was assumption that it was going to be a council facility.
It is. That was it. Yeah. Do you want me to put that?
I don't think you put it in the resolution.
Well, we haven't got the time, it's just a day.
Well, can we just think about that? Because we've had things that have been successful lately. Can we keep it general and then just get some advice and just set the date?
You've set the purpose, set the money.
We just need the date, not the start.
Just the
I
date.
don't know, because otherwise we just get
But
swamped.
it's
15th of December, is it?
Through the chair to the CEO, I foreshadowed the notice of motion to the Roma director, so it wasn't a surprise, given that it would be his staff that would be leading it. My understanding is that the Ernest Brock Room, where we've held it a number of times over the years, is available, and a tentative booking may have already been made at that space. Because it is the Maranoa Regional Council Community Lunch.
We've had very successful other ones lately, and we just didn't know whether. Anyway, we can talk about that another time.
We can let the start.
Okay. So.
I just want to confirm that it was GL 2843.
And what's the community service obligation? Is it?
Community support officer.
Yeah. Community support officer is the GL, yeah.
I'll second that. Does the mayor wish to speak to the motion?
I do. I just wonder if I can just go back up to 1, please, Nikita. I mean, my intention was that it was to be held in a council facility because it was a Maranoa. We have to get external caterers, but it's on our side, and councillors play the role that we have in previous years, over many years, and support the staff and lead this on the day. So I do want to put in there, Chair, hold Maranoa Regional Council Christmas Community Lunch on Friday, the 15th of December, at the Ernest Brock room at the Cultural Centre in Rome.
Well, the only thing on
the council host a Maranoa Regional Council Christmas Community Night.
But unfortunately, this might cause a conflict. But I would like to look at a different location. Same thing, exactly the same, but I've just been very impressed at other things that have happened lately, and I think we should consider that. But but that might cause a conflict to someone. Anyway. Like, have you got any appetite to leave it open and we hear about it at the next meeting? Like, lock in all the options, or do you want to make a decision?
I think we need to make the decision today because it's so close. And I'll talk to why I'm bringing it up today. But I mean, my thought was to get it back into the council facility because that's how we've done it, a number of times over the years, and it's been really successful. So my preference is to leave it as the Ernest Brock room.
Right. So do you want to speak to the motion?
Are you happy to second it with that?
Well, I am, because I want to hear it and I'll talk about it.
So the reason I brought this up today and I'm moving it is that for the last couple of years we haven't hosted a community Christmas lunch. There was a change in direction given that council was so heavily supporting the Maranoa Christmas Street party and that there was a support meal provided as part of that. That is happening as part of the 2023 Christmas Street party, but a demographic is missing out in being supported and acknowledged and provided a bit of Christmas cheer as we have seen. As long as I've been on council has been involved in this particular event. It's been raised with me that we are missing that demographic, and so I thought it was timely to raise it here today that we reintroduce that, and that whilst council staff will play a very strong, role in pulling it together, it was in fact the councillors that were present on the day. They served the meals, they acted as waiters, they cleaned up afterwards, and it was us supporting our community, in particular an older demographic, with this particular annual event. So I'd like to see it back as part of the number of events that council's involved in over the Christmas period across the region, and that's why it's before you today.
I'll speak. I'll certainly support this motion because I think it's been a miss not having the Christmas party, certainly, but I would like to see it not necessarily at Ernest Brock Room, and like to see it where I've seen some of the most successful opportunities we've had. So I'd like all councillors to consider that, even if this goes through, because I do believe we can set the date, perhaps change the venue, do exactly what Councillor O'Neill said, because I think it's the people that make the day as well as, obviously all of our residents that come. But I do think that, I'd like to see it in a different location and fully support the basis of going back to, there was even Santa Claus that was there, and there was...
Your turn, issue.
Hey?
Your turn, issue.
But anyway, does anyone else wish to speak? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? Oh, sorry. Councillor O'Neill, would you like to sum up?
Thanks very much, Mayor. I acknowledge the fact that there are other venues in town, but this is the Maranoa Regional Council Christmas Party in a council facility, that we would engage local business to come in and provide catering. I don't expect that we'll be cooking the chickens. It would be outsourced. And I do think the Ernest Brock Room can play a really good venue, and it's available already. It would mean that we would have to all chip in and to give the staff a bit of a hand. But I think this is an appropriate location on a Friday rather than a Saturday, so we're not impacting on other events that are around a very busy time, both professionally and personally for people that will be working to make this a success. And I think we should bed this down to be part of the annual calendar going forward.
Okay, all those in favour? 7-0. Any further business, councillor?
Yes, Mr Mayor. We haven't dealt with 8.3, which I thought you might have been.
8.3. Which one was that?
It's on the screen.
It's on the screen, Mr. Mayor.
Oh, right. 8.3, proposal for a new waiver to be school.
We're going to withdraw.
Because we did, and we've already dealt with it within the closed one.
Yeah, so I move that this item be withdrawn from the agenda.
I'll second that.
We have a second to councillor O'Neill. All those in favour? 7-0. Okay, no further business, councillors.
We've got to do on the finger.
I'll close the meeting at 6 o'clock on the dot.
Thanks, Nikita.
Thank you.